Most observers look at a slum bordering a skyscraper and assume it represents an economic glitch, a tragic mix of bad luck or poor planning. In India, the political system treats poverty as a carefully maintained feature. It is a tool utilized to ensure specific, predictable outcomes for those in power. This functions as political fuel. Keeping massive demographics poor creates perpetual desperation, converted into cheap votes. This machine widens the wealth gap by design. The top line accelerates upward, while the bottom cycle spins faster, making the divide permanent. This internal friction prevents the nation from moving forward. Ambitions for global AI dominance or geopolitical weight remain out of reach, while the majority of the population relies on government rations just to survive. If India is to reach its goals, we have to look past the symptoms and understand how to dismantle the gears of this poverty machine. The trap works by exhausting a citizen's mental capacity. A low-income earner faces 3 daily threats that leave no room for long-term thought or planning. The first threat is the kitchen. When the cost of cooking oil, gas, and lentils spikes, families must prioritize caloric survival over everything else. The second is the school. While elite private schools are priced for the wealthy, the public system remains underfunded and neglected, denying the poor a path to upward mobility. The third is the hospital. In a privatized medical landscape, a single surgery can cost a family their ancestral land. This constant risk of financial obliteration keeps people in a state of panic. A mind locked in survival mode cannot innovate. Someone worried about paying for an emergency surgery or basic food will not take entrepreneurial risks or demand complex policy changes from their leaders. By forcing the population to focus entirely on their immediate needs, the system ensures the masses never have the resources to challenge the structures that keep them there. This manufactured desperation is easily converted into raw power. Without a secure future or a quality education, individuals are quickly pulled into the logic of the mob. People who are peaceful on their own become radicalized along religious or caste lines when they lack financial direction. Their energy is weaponized by political interests that thrive on unrest. These vulnerabilities fuel regional conflicts that tear the country apart. When poverty is the baseline, it is easy to spark violence that leads to national tragedy. This culminates in the final transaction of the machine, politicians buying votes for a few hundred rupees. Desperate demographics cannot afford to hold out for long-term policy improvements when they need cash today. An educated middle class evaluates performance and demands accountability. Maintaining a desperate underclass is an essential requirement for maintaining this type of political control. New grassroots interventions are bypassing these traditional barriers. They deliver elite-level education and advanced medical care to the poorest demographics for almost no cost. This involves offering top-tier UPSC and JEE preparation for mere pennies. It removes the lakh rupee price tag of traditional coaching hubs, allowing children of laborers to compete for the highest offices in the country. This chart shows the financial barrier to healthcare. On the left, a standard private scan costs 7,000 rupees, a sum that can bankrupt a family. Grassroots clinics use the same high-end machines to drop those costs. By lowering the price to 1,800 rupees, these facilities collapse the financial wall. It is a direct assault on the economic pressures that keep the poverty machine running. Eliminating the fear of medical debt and the high cost of education breaks the mechanism. It stops the poverty trap from functioning as intended. A soldier fights fearlessly on the border because he knows his family's health and education are secured by the state. He can focus entirely on the mission because the basic needs of his home are not in question. If you apply that same security to the civilian population, the results are transformative. Potential is unlocked the moment the paralyzing fear of medical bankruptcy and educational debt vanishes. When 1.4 billion people are freed from survival mode, the nation's mental bandwidth shifts. Instead of importing foreign technology, the country begins to innovate for itself. India holds the world's largest reserves of thorium, a mineral that could provide total energy independence. But exploring it requires a massive pipeline of domestic scientists and a market of energy-consuming businesses. When the majority of the population is trapped in caloric survival, they cannot contribute to that talent pool or create the economic demand needed to fuel that research. Releasing this human capital changes the global standing of the nation. It leads to indigenous super AI, competitive global businesses, and a self-reliant economy. Standardizing healthcare and education is a tactical unchaining of the population. It is the only reliable method to activate India's human capital and awaken the country.